The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Maricel Halili. The Defense Department is looking into a six-phase approach in implementing mandatory ROTC for college students. The first to second phases include preparation and implementation of pilot programs, while phases 3 to 5 involves expansion to other regions and full implementation in schools. The agency says the program will reach full implementation in about 5 years. A former Supreme Court justice says it's high time to amend the Constitution, but one of the framers warned that it could pave the way for more transactional legislations. Marian Enriquez with a report.
In the deliberation of the pending measures,
is it time to amend the Constitution? If so, how? These were the initial questions of members of the House Committee on Constitutional Amendments. 5 measures were filed before the lower house, pushing for a constitutional convention to make amendments in the 1987 Constitution. Delegates will be elected from every legislative district to propose amendments. For former Supreme Court Associate Justice Vicente Mendoza, there's an urgent need to amend the Constitution due to the amendment clause in Article 17 being very ambiguous. It does not state if the two houses of Congress must sit jointly or separately, or vote as one or not in a constituent assembly or constitutional convention.
This has been a problem since the 1987 Constitution, Mr. Chairman, and it has not been resolved. You make that ambiguous. You make it difficult for people to amend the Constitution. It lacks the details. What do you have? You might have a revolution.
Mendoza says the amendment clause is an essential part of the Constitution. But for attorney Christian Monsod, who was one of the framers of the Charter, the Constitution is not the problem.
The Constitution, Your Honors, is not the problem. It is part of the solution. Why don't you pass those first? And then let's see whether they work and won't need any change in the Constitution anymore.
Monsod warned that if the phrase "unless otherwise provided by law" is inserted to loosen restrictive economic provisions, this will make legislators too powerful by allowing them to propose changes just by passing regular laws without the need for a vote by the Filipino people through a plebiscite.
The door is open wider to transactional legislation at which corrupt politicians and greedy business are very adept.
But for attorney Adolfo Azcuna, the economic policies should be adjustable to the needs of the country, especially since it has been 36 years since the Constitution was made.
We need foreign investment in order to recover from the twin impact of inflation and the pandemic. And yet we are constrained by economic policies that are not meant to last 36 years.
Constitutional Amendments Panel Chairman Rufus Rodriguez meanwhile said that they will visit different parts of the country to hold public consultations on the matter. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Maricel Halili. The divide between Britain's rich and poor has grown larger 3 years into the rule of the Conservative Party. Let's find out what changed since the Tories rose into power in 2019 in this Bloomberg report.
Is the UK levelling up? The data suggests not. In 2019, the Conservative Party won an election promising to level up Britain.
You've changed the future of our country.
Yes.
For the better.
That's to say, spread wealth and opportunity across the country to close the gap with the richer region of London and the South East. Bloomberg is tracking the progress of levelling up against the government's own metrics, which include measures such as pay, productivity and well-being. And the picture is getting worse. Since 2019, 77% of constituencies have fallen further behind London and the South East. In the so-called red wall seats, the former industrial heartlands that swung from Labour to Conservative at the last election, 97% are losing ground against London. And there are direct levers the government could be pulling to reduce regional inequality, but it's not. In transport, for example, London and the South East received £905 of spending per head at the last count. That compares to just £442 per head in the North East, and that gap has widened since 2019. The spending gap on overall public services has also widened in favour of the capital. The danger for Rishi Sunak is he risks an electoral backlash if voters feel like the Conservatives have not delivered on the levelling up promise.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 10:45 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Maricel Halili. We are One News.